All right, guys, welcome back to another one-on-one episode. My name is Josh. I am sitting here in the studio in Laguna Niguel, California. This is not I'm not rubbing it into anyone else in the country, but I think we're the only ones that are not dealing with an insane heat wave right now. Savag, would you say that?
I think so.
It's hot right now. I'm hot, but I know we're not dealing with what our guest is currently dealing with. And then also Kathy, our other co-host, I know you're right in the thick of it, aren't you?
I have several terms. None are appropriate for the podcast. And, we get a little bit out of line on the podcast, but I mean, I do not want Savag to have to work that hard to edit me, but it's hot. It is just, yeah. And it's humid.
Are you guys concerned at all that we're 3 or 4 days into summer and we're already dealing with this?
Let me tell you what I'm concerned about. I'm concerned that yesterday, I think we had a fireball, which was a meteor, which was like, no shit. No, I'm not kidding you. Into like the corner of North Carolina, Tennessee, Georgia, that little part that is, yeah. Like a fireball, not fireball like a shot, right? I'm not talking party bucket. I'm talking about a freaking meteor came to the earth and is on the radar. You don't make it up. It's that hot.
That's what wiped the dinosaurs out, isn't it?
I think that can be an episode on its own.
Oh my God.
What a Kathy experience in the air.
Yeah, no, I encourage everyone listening, please stay cool during this time. That is insane. All right, I want to jump into it, Kathy, because we have a really, really cool guest that you know, and you've had on one of your previous primetime sessions. This guy's a rock star. I'm going to let you introduce him. But before we introduce him, we're going to start with one of my useless but fun questions. So, Kathy, Savag, and guest, when you were growing up, and I'm talking like a kid, what did you tell people you wanted to be when you grew up? And I'm going to start with you, Savag. And I'm not talking like when you went to college. I'm talking as a kid, like elementary school. I'm sure you had some sort of assignment where you had to tell them what you wanted to do when you grew up.
I wanted to be a pilot.
That's a good one. My dad would be happy with that answer.
Yeah, I wanted to be a pilot. And I liked airplanes growing up. And then I think around 90, 91, the show Wings, I think we talked about this before, that really solidified my want to be a pilot, but not have the psycho girlfriend.
Okay, that's a good answer. Kathy, what about you?
Be a nurse.
I
a
could see that.
Surgical nurse.
That's scary, but
I know.
I could see that, though. I could definitely see you doing that. All right, I'm going to let you introduce our guest. Mine was, and I'm a scratch version of it. I wanted to be a chef, and for a very, very long time, I wanted to be a chef, and now it's just fun for me to cook.
Well, there are days I still don't know what I want to be when I grow up. Josh and Savag, it is an extreme pleasure for me to introduce who I want to call a friend as well as one of our partners in One Marketplace, and that's Luke Aker. And Luke is with ReminderMedia, and he's going to talk a little bit about that. But it's very seldom that we get to bring someone to the podcast, guys, that has the experience, and he's got take action behind him, things that is so actionable. And he's got a plan that people can actually listen today, walk away, and make a difference in their business. So Luke, thank you for being here.
I am excited to be here. I will try to come in like your next meteor,
okay,
hot and bring it on the podcast. There you go. I was trying to tie it all together for us.
Did you see that? Did you see that meteor? Because you're on the East Coast with me.
I did not. I mean, maybe I'm too much in my house or too much in my office, but
yeah,
I did not. I didn't even know that happened.
Google it, because I'm not making it up.
Love it.
Luke, before you get into everything, what did you tell people you wanted to be when you were growing up?
It's funny. I grew up, so one thing that's unique about me, I grew up in a family of 8 kids. I was homeschooled all the way to college. My mom was a saint. So imagine 8 kids, homeschooling 8 kids all the way to college.
Bless her heart. Oh, my God.
Yeah, seriously. I was the third of 8, but I got into music like really early, 10 years old. I started playing trumpet and guitar, and then we had kind of like a family band. It was me and my brothers, and my dad was a pastor, and we traveled around kind of up and down the East Coast, playing everything you could think of, church camps, coffee houses, festivals, stuff like that. So I thought I was going to be a musician for the longest time. God had other plans, and now I'm here.
That's really.
Are you still a musician?
Yeah, still a musician, but only play like at my church. I play on our praise team and stuff. So.
Oh man, karaoke night, here we come.
There you go. Play some piano, man, stuff like that. All about it.
I don't want to go too into the weeds because this podcast will really go off the rails. But I don't know if you've heard of the band Kings of Leon, but that is legitimately their story. Their dad was a traveling pastor, and they traveled around, and they're now they're rock stars now.
Yeah, we didn't quite have the talent of Kings of Leon.
Maybe
I thought I did. Maybe I thought I did, but looking back, I'm like, I can see why we didn't make it as musicians, but
Cool.
got
I
out
like
different
that.
plans, love marketing, and that's what I'm doing today. So I'm honored to be here, and I really appreciate, obviously, the partnership, and working with so many of the agents across the nation has just been phenomenal.
So I want to hear about your program, your
Okay.
F.I.T program. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yep. So ReminderMedia, we're a marketing company, but marketing is so broad, right? So really where we got our start was, I believe the key to business is relationships. And I think most real estate agents would agree with that. And everybody's heard the slogan, you got to get people to know, like, and trust you. Really, you've almost heard that ad nauseum. Yep. Okay. I got to get people to know, like, and trust me. But how do I practically do that from a marketing standpoint? And so that's really where our passion is going, how do you look at your database as the people you want to reach, and how do you tactically get them to know, like, and trust you? And what my CMO, Josh, and I did, man, it's got to be maybe 4 or 5 years back, we started to look at, okay, we've been at this for over a decade. We've worked with 153,000 real estate agents at this point in time. We've sent out millions of pieces of direct mail, millions done with Facebook advertising. We do social media content, email marketing. And none of this I say to impress people. It's just I want people to have context of, we're looking at all these marketing campaigns, and I'm trying to figure out, what is it about marketing campaigns that work versus ones that don't? And when Josh and I started looking at our data from our campaigns of the past, almost 20 years, and then we have a podcast ourselves called Stay Paid. And for the past 8 years, I've been sitting down with the best coaches, entrepreneurs, real estate agents across the country. I started to dive into what are the things about marketing that really makes it successful. And I came up with an acronym called F.I.T, because I can't help myself. I'm a marketer, and it's easy to remember. If your marketing's out of shape, you're not getting referrals right now that you should be, or your leads aren't converting, your marketing's out of shape. You got to get it fit. And what does FIT stand for? It stands for frequency, impact, and trust. And my challenge, because we don't have a ton of time on this podcast, but my challenge to everybody is, I want you to go audit your marketing after this, and specifically just focus on your database marketing. And ask yourself, do you have these 3 pillars happening within your marketing to your database? And I can break down kind of each pillar for you, but I don't want to just talk the whole time. So I'll stop there and throw it back to you guys. Wherever you want me to go, I'm more than happy to break it all down piece by piece.
I love it. And you're talking to marketing gurus here. So I feel like, Josh, you probably want to break it down a little bit.
I definitely want to break it down a little bit. Yeah.
I feel like this is so actionable. So, Josh, what questions do you have around FIT?
I immediately already want to go to AI, and I don't want to go down that road yet. So let's break it down really quick. Maybe,
Let me give you a high level of each of them, and that way you get a feel. Okay, so frequency is, I chose the word because it has 2 kind of meanings. One is the frequency of touch. And my question always to people when I'm speaking is, how often should you be in front of your database? Like, that's the $1 million question. Is it 33 times, right? That was the Millionaire Real Estate Agent book. Is it 33 times? Is it 5 times, or 4, maybe once a quarter? What is the magic number? And,
Can I stop you though really quick? When
Yes.
you say in front of them, there's obviously multiple ways to be in front of them, right? So are you breaking down that, let's say the number's 30, are you breaking down that number of 10 digitally, 5 in person, 4
That's
on
why I
social?
like you, Josh, because you're the marketing brain. I love it. So frequency, that's exactly why I chose the word frequency, because you have frequency of touch, like frequency of contact, but you also have frequency of channel. So marketing has multiple frequencies of channel. And what I tell people is, the amount of times you should be in front of them, the magic formula is more. M-O-R-E, more than you are today. If you're doing 12, you should be doing 13. If you're doing 100, you should be doing 101. Biggest mistake I see in business, because we work in now 140 different industries, not just real estate, is the entrepreneur, the business owner thinks they are over communicating when they're just sending 1 email a month, or they're just getting 1 mailer out there a month. And they are doing way too little touches. 8 years ago, we started Acree Brothers Realty to test out our marketing. This year, we've already closed 150 closed and pending with 5 agents on our team. Again, I don't say that to brag. It's to tell you guys, hey, I am living out what I'm telling you today. We do over 200 touch points a year to our database, over 200 to our sphere, because it is almost impossible to touch people too many times. It is way too easy to touch them too little. And the example I give to people to draw it home, because most people, when they hear that, they're like, no, don't hit people 200 times. That's spam, all that stuff. But think about your wife. Think about your husband. Think about your significant other. How often are you in touch with them? They're your best and closest relationship, hopefully. How often are you in touch with them? You're in touch with them all the time. If you did a data graph of touch points, it's literally your closest relationships have the most frequency with you. As you go down to acquaintances, they have the least amount of frequency with you. So my challenge to everyone is minimum you should be 26. I mean, that's every 2 weeks, minimum. Now, the key is what you said, Josh, which is it's not just 200 magazines that we're sending, right? Because people know us for producing the custom magazine, or 200 emails that we're sending. It's multiple frequencies is the key. And so when we break down frequency, I see marketing kind of at a high level of 6 different frequencies. You have the direct mailbox, right? You have the email inbox. You have social media, or what you could call web engagement, but mainly driven through social. You have voice to voice. You have face to face, and then screen to screen. So screen to screen can be like a text message. We're on a screen to screen right now, right through this riverside. So your goal as an agent should be, okay, Luke, you're saying I should really keep in touch with my database 26 minimum times. The goal is to be on at least 2 or more frequencies. I learned this from a friend of mine, Jason Pantana. Do you guys know Jason? Have you had Jason on your show?
We have not.
So Jason is, you mentioned AI. Everybody should follow Jason. He's an incredible marketer. He's Tom Ferry's main marketing guru, but he is huge into AI right now. But Jason taught me the psychology effect of the frequency illusion. Are you guys familiar with this? So the frequency illusion basically states that, Josh, if you see me on 2 or more frequencies, your brain will make you think you see me more than you do. So just like you go to buy a car, you see the car everywhere. It's a similar type thing where it's like, because I saw you, Luke, on the podcast with Realty One, and now I get your email in the inbox, my brain starts to recognize Luke, and I start to think I see Luke everywhere, which is the magic that every agent wants, because 81% of consumers, or I shouldn't say that, I should say 81% of sellers is the exact stat, choose the first agent they interview. So you need every advantage as a real estate agent to be first. And so what I tell people is frequency is the first key. Minimum 26 touches, minimum 2 or more frequencies. Our goal is to get you on all 6 frequencies. I want you in the mailbox. I want you in the email inbox. I want you on social media constantly. I want you doing quarterly phone calls to your client at the very least. I want you doing quarterly client events to your clients. And I'm just breaking down what we're doing for agents and what we do for our own real estate team. And what you'll find is that you will dominate the mind share. And this is really important for people to get, because the average consumer knows 4 to 5 other agents like they know you.
That's interesting.
Wow.
Wait, say that one more time.
The average agent, average consumer knows 4 to 5 other real estate agents like they know you. So if Josh is in your database, he knows 4 other agents. He's connected to 4 other real estate agents on average.
So no matter what you do at that point, you already have at least some sort of competition.
Some sort of competition. And how do you get, I'm a fan of John Maxwell. He talks about getting yourself out of the people pile. Like in life, if you want to stand out at your job, if you want to stand out in life, you got to get yourself out of the people pile. You got to do something different. You got to do something unique. I like taking that analogy and going, man, as an agent, you got to get yourself out of the agent pile. There are so many agents right there in your local area. What are you doing to your database that is different? That stands out. That's not just like everybody else. How are you showcasing that? One of the reasons why our magazine is exclusive and only one agent can do it to their sphere is because we want to give you something that is different that only you can send. But whether you use a ReminderMedia product or not, it is, what are you should be thinking right now, I got to hit my database at least minimum 26 times, at least on multiple frequencies. But what am I sending that is different, that stands out?
Let's say that every agent, like you said, you have 4 to 5 agents that you're competing with. Let's say all of those agents are doing the same. They're doing the 26 times. So what are you doing as a personal brand? That's kind of what I wanted to jump into. That's different than those other people that are in your market. Those other agents
and that's really been the key. So frequency, right, is the first. You can be frequent, but if you're only frequent, you still won't get the business because you can be frequent with junk. We all know that, right? So it's like you can be frequent, but you need I. I is impact. Impact is really what creates memorability. Like, how do you become memorable to people? Because people choose the person they think of. Like the biggest, lie that we think is that you have to be the best. You do not have to be the best. You just have to be the most known. we don't really choose, like I always tell people, did you really choose the best dentist? Did you really call their past patients? Did you really go and do all the due diligence, or did you choose the most known, the most convenient, usually a referral, or maybe you Googled and in the top one at Google popped up? Like, the best way to be a great salesperson, marketer, is to put yourselves in the shoes of someone who's being sold to, someone who's being marketed to. It's how you got to think like the consumer. So with impact, I always tell people there's a lot of ways to create impact, but in marketing, I see, two really strategic things you can do. One is through personalization. And great examples of this are Google and Facebook, right? They are $1 billion, if not $1 trillion at this point. Companies, what do they sell? They sell advertisements. Why are they so good at selling ads? Because they have personal data. So they're able to take a profile on you, Josh, based upon what you click on, you're friends with, who you're interested in, and serve up ads relevant to that profile. And because it's relevant, and this is marketing 101, as you guys know, I'm preaching to a choir, but marketing 101 is relevancy. If you can serve a relevant piece of information in front of somebody that means something to them, that is a desire they have or a pain point, fix that they need, they will pay attention, and you can put a piece of copy there, marketing copy, to get them to take action on it. And so what you've got to do as an agent is you got to go, well, how do I get relevant? How do I get personal? And I always love using the FORWARD acronym because I think it's the best way for agents to get really, really close to their sphere. FORWARD stands for family, occupation, recreation, and dreams. So if I'm you as an agent, and this is just what we try to do at Acree Brothers, is go, okay, let me get my database and my CRM, and let me go through each person in my database. And do I know, if Kathy's in my database, do I know Kathy's family? Do I know her job? Do I know her hobbies, what she's into? And do I know her dreams, especially her dreams when it comes to real estate and what she's trying to do? When I told you, hey, 26 touches and you should at least do 4 calls, right, once a quarter, what do you think those calls should be about? Man, those calls should be about collecting that information, because then guess what you can do? You can tie all your other marketing to that. Right. You can tie all the other marketing. Sometimes when we get into segmentation of databases, sorry, you can tell I'm passionate about this stuff. No, what happens to people is they segment their databases based upon what they want from their database. Try flipping it and segment your database based upon what your database would appreciate getting from you.
That's good.
Meaning segment your database based upon what they would want and who they are and how you can connect with them. And do it both ways, because it will teach you how to connect with people at a relationship level, not just a transactional level. So how do you do stuff like this at scale? One of the tactics that we do at Acree Brothers is called a 5 for 5. It's every single day, take 5 minutes, pick 5 people in your database, and reach out to them with a personal message. If you've done your due diligence on the FORWARD method, family, occupation, recreation, dreams, I can simply, Josh, man, you come up today. Guess what? I shoot you a simple text message. Josh, man, you popped into my mind this morning. Hope you're doing well. I hope the family's doing well. Hey, man, I know you're into Japanese whiskey because you showed it to me before you got on the show. We should grab a drink sometime.
Yeah.
And I shoot that out to you. Here is the magic that I don't want people to miss. When you do that, right, and you do that for 30 days straight, you hit your whole database. But guess what you do that's even better than hitting your whole database? You elevate every other piece of marketing that you are doing. The billboard that you bought, shopping cart, grocery, ad that you bought, or whatever it is that you're doing, all of that actually becomes seen now with the client that you had the personal connection with. I guarantee you everybody is getting probably, I shouldn't say everybody, but there's a lot of agents that are probably listening to this that are getting marketed to by ReminderMedia, through our Facebook ads, to our emails, right? Nonstop. If you watch this podcast right now, all my emails and stuff are going to stand out now. Yeah. Because there's a personal reach.
There's going to be another trigger in your brain from when you saw those emails versus then you're going to go see that email, and you're literally just going to react differently after having listen to this podcast or watch this podcast, to your point.
Because it's a human, that you got to have the human connection.
Correct.
Well, and that brings in the T. That brings in the trust, because of the brand. You being our partner is going to help start to infuse that trust into our network and into the people that we pour into.
So well said. That if I summarize, right, because it's a lot of stuff I'm throwing at people, but let's go back and say you have 100 people in your database right now. I want you to hit them 26 times at the minimum, and I want you to scale from there. I want you to hit them on at least 2 frequencies. Now, I gave you multiple frequencies, right? You could do 1 email a month. You could do 1 phone call a quarter. I listed those out. So that's frequency. I want you to have impact by doing things that are personal based on the Ford method. But you got to build trust, because if you're frequent with just impact, you create best friends, but you don't get people to buy from you. You need people to see you as the subject matter expert. The easiest way to think about this is, if you're going to go invest your money right now with a financial advisor, do you want that advisor to know more about mutual funds, the stock market, crypto than you do? Of course you do. You don't want them to know as much as you. You don't want them to know less than you. You want to see them as like, hey, you know how to take me from point A to point B on the investment things that I need to do. So you've got to put yourself in that position as the agent. You got to go, how do I become the SME, the subject matter expert? And there's 4 real simple ways to build trust in marketing. One is showcase your accolades. So if you showcase your accolades to people, what are those? How long you've been in the business? How many clients have you served? What awards have you won? Showcase those. That builds credibility and trust. When you go to a conference, they always read people's accolades off because they want to build trust with the audience. And so if you're a new agent listening to this, you joined your brokerage for a reason. Your brokerage has accolades. They've been servicing people for a certain amount of time in that area. They've won certain awards. Use what's called the royal we in sales. Maybe you haven't been in the business for 10 years, but we as a brokerage have. Right? And so you can use that to build trust. Second way to build trust in marketing is through testimonials. People care what you say, but they care way more what your clients say. And so I always encourage people, like, if you can go and really bolster up your Google reviews, your Zillow reviews, Realtor.com, it is a massive, massive opportunity for you. And if you can get to be number 1 reviewed in your area, that is a great email ad. Like Acree Brothers, number 1 reviewed team in Lynchburg, Virginia. That is great when we're in our listing presentation to sit down with that potential seller and go, hey, we're the most reviewed team, 5-star team in Lynchburg, Virginia. That just helps. How do you get reviews? One, when you do your client events, make sure you have your laptop ready and your phone ready. Invite all your clients to your client event. This is what we do. And we always collect usually 25 to 50 reviews right there at our client event, because we ask them, hey, would you mind writing a review for us on Google? Would you mind writing for Zillow?
That is brilliant. And Savag just got real excited. I can feel it from here.
Stole the words out of my mouth, Kathy. Yeah. Literally, I'm just staring at his face.
Yeah, he's looking at my beautiful eyes. But it's validating, Kathy, because what Luke's saying is everything that we've been saying for years too. But he comes with the tools, and he comes with this philosophy, the method that is proven and works. We talked about one example that you brought up is something that I talk about often. That's the recency effect, and making sure that you're in the queue of their brain when they're ready to take action, when they're ready to think about something. They could just be driving. I always use the example of, you're driving home, family calls in, they want a pizza, and then you see a billboard for a pizza company. That's who you're going to end up calling.
Yep, it's spot on. So if you go, hey, showcase your accolades, showcase your client testimonials. Third way to build trust that's often overlooked is what, Kathy, you mentioned, which is you can get trust by association. So me being on this podcast, I get trust associated to me because you have earned trust with your audience that's tuning in. And so you,
and
as
vice
a
versa.
local, say that again.
I said and vice versa with
yes,
ReminderMedia.
and vice versa. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah.
So if you think as a real estate agent in your local market, are you going live and doing stuff with the estate planning attorney, the divorce attorney, the elder care attorney? All these people are very close to the real estate transaction or potential real estate transaction. Insurance agent, the title company, the lender. You need to create your 6 degrees of separation of business owners that are synergistic, that serve your community, and they have built a career by building trust with an audience. Wouldn't it be nice to just tag along, kind of like the fish does to the shark with their audience? That's what I try to do, man. I would literally go in the local market and go, man, who's the elder care attorney that has all this trust? How do I give to them? One of the things with our magazine that I encourage agents to do, feature your business partners in your magazine as a way to build rapport and reciprocity, so they will advertise you. I have a client that got 39 deals last year from elder care attorneys and assisted living facilities. He closed 39. So he was referred a ton more people. 39 actually closed from seniors referred to him. So that's a huge way. And then the last way to build trust is the hardest, and this is life in general. It's educational content put out consistently. And the reason why it's the hardest is because of the word consistently. And it is so difficult. I know from our own podcast, 90% of podcasts fall into pod fade, where they don't get past 10 episodes. Congrats to you guys, right? You didn't fall into that trap.
We've had that struggle though. It's
Yeah,
real.
it is.
It is.
Yeah.
It's so hard because when you put out educational content, a lot of times you don't get listeners. You don't get likes and engagement. You don't
Right.
get any feedback, so you feel it's not working. And what you need to understand, because I experienced this with our podcast for 3 years, nobody listened. And then it started getting traction. It's actually become our number one brand builder. Been at it for 8 years now. But for 3 years, nobody listened. Right. Yeah. But here's the reason why, because Kathy might not have listened, but she saw. And she might not have listened to every single episode, but that one time where it was the right time in her life where she had a pain point on a certain topic, and I just happened to have an episode that came out and it, she got into it. It's like you got to realize your clients are living their movie. They're not living your movie. So they're not going to tune in 100% of the time. They're living their own. All you're trying to do is put out consistent content so when the time comes that they need real estate advice, buying, selling, investing, they think of you because they go, man, Luke really likes this stuff. He's constantly talking about it. He's constantly, giving out information on it. Let me pick his brain. And I just know that, hey, if you show up at least 26 times a year, you connect with people on their family, occupation, recreation, and dreams in your marketing. Don't just send transactional data. Send actually stuff that connects. And you actually brand yourself as the agent of trust by showcasing some accolades, some testimonials, some partnerships, and then educational content. I promise you, you will succeed. You will find yourself in the 13%. 87% of real estate agents fail. You'll find yourself in the 13%. But it's a lot harder to do than it is to say. So, that is the F.I.T framework.
And I think it's especially in the world that we're in now from a marketing standpoint, it's constantly moving and changing. And so that's the one, we got to wrap this up pretty soon, but I do have a question for you, Luke and Savag. I know you're going to want to chime in on this. I was actually going to call you the other night, so I was thinking about this. Like I was on ChatGPT and I'm searching something and I put in a prompt and then it shoots back out, well, Canva could really help you with this. And I'm thinking in my head, I'm like, how did Canva, do they have a deal with ChatGPT, or have they just flooded the system so much that now that's what a chatbot is recommending to me? And so basically my question to you, Luke and Savag, is like, can you flood an AI? So basically, like if I'm asking for real estate advice, it'll come back and it'll say, well, ReminderMedia could really help you out with this. Like that, I'm almost saying like that's another avenue for you.
Great question. I'd love to hear your answer, Savag. I'll give you my quick understanding so far, but it's limited because I don't know if anybody truly has vetted it out yet. But the hack that we're doing, and I'm literally doing this right now for ReminderMedia. So if I'm you, I would go to AI right now, whether it's Gemini, ChatGPT, go to all of them really, and ask, hey, I need a real estate agent in X area, your area. Who would you recommend? And see who it recommends. Yep. And then the beautiful thing about AI is it allows you to have a conversation with it.
Right.
So go, what made you choose those agents? Why did you choose those agents? And then put you and not me.
Right.
And it will give you the answer of why it chose it and ask it for the sites that it sourced in order to pull that information. You're going to find, at least with ChatGPT, I have found that I think it's Fast Expert is often sourced for pulling a real estate agent. So what does that mean? If I'm you, I would go to Fast Expert and make sure my profile is bolstered up and I get reviews on that.
The whole point I'm trying to make. Exactly. Yes.
Yeah.
Thank you.
So like that is the hack that I am doing. Like I literally asked it, what I want to do a magazine in real estate. Who should I use? ReminderMedia was number one, but I said postcards because we also do postcards for clients. We were like number 3 suggested for postcards. I said social content. We didn't even make the list. So then I asked, hey, why did you not suggest ReminderMedia for social media content? And it gave me what it thought. And I called my marketing team, Jesse and content team and all of them. I said, hey, we need to get information on our sites on these things because we do this, and we obviously aren't showcasing it to the web. And so I'm literally doing it for ReminderMedia, just like I think an agent should do it for them. So that's my answer.
That was literally, that's what I was asking. Savag, what do you got?
I absolutely. I had a discussion earlier, and asking this question, my boss is going to call me probably after they hear this. The thing that hasn't changed is that content is king.
Preach.
And providing for you, Josh. Providing the definitive content, we've learned that the AI models love statistics, they love data. They folks that are using either Gemini, Claude, ChatGPT, they're looking at the results and what comes out, and then they're not even clicking on the websites to go there. So putting this into your workflow to make sure that you have your profiles updated. We always talk about your Google Juice, Kathy, and making sure that your Google business profile is updated, and all your Zillow, and wherever you have a profile, like Luke said, ask why you're not listed. That's going to create a game plan for it for you. And this could be another episode on its own. Probably have Tyler from Socratic on pretty soon and to talk about all this, but it's just doing your work. And then to what Luke has been saying earlier on in this podcast, do the work so you have that frequency, you have those interaction points with them, and you're available anywhere and everywhere. And wherever you do appear, your information is relative. It provides substance. And Kathy, I'm having a Donald Miller story brand moment when Luke said, they're in their own movie and it's their movie. You're just playing a part in it. And the whole thing about how can you help them be the hero.
So good. I think we're going to see, I call it verification, become extremely valuable, because right now, I don't know if you guys are sensing this already. I sense it in our company as well as the people that I interact with. ChatGPT, AI in general, whatever one you use, has made knowledge really easy to get, but you don't know if it's verified, right? So trust is going to be the currency at a massive level here soon. And so it's like verification's going to matter a ton in every avenue. And I'm still thinking through on our side, it's like, okay, well, what does that mean in the marketplace? So I think like endorsement. So for me, right, I'll apply it to ReminderMedia. I need to make sure ReminderMedia is featured on the trusted sites, right? So if you can, Housing Wire, Inman, BAM, if ReminderMedia as a company is featured on those sites, that's a verification signal to the consumer that ReminderMedia is who they say they are. So then translate that to the local real estate agent. How do you get verified by independent sources in your local community, whether it's the local news, chamber of commerce? Like, I think verification, this is just me putting on my predictive hat, is going, hey, trust is going to be a massive currency here in the future, because you're going to get so many suggestions from AI, but is it actually true? Is it hallucinating?
You're 1,000% right, because you're going to get 100 different suggestions from AI, but also the person that is trying to gain your trust or your legitimacy also has AI. So if you're spitting out bullshit, they can very easily catch that. And so so it's like it is an even playing field at that point.
Yep, correct. And so you got to find the
gotten
things
better.
that people can't fake in a way. And I think reviews are one of those, right? So reviews,
Agreed.
like reviews are extremely important right now to be collecting them today. Content is important, but I'm nervous of content from a blogging standpoint because it's a commodity now with AI. Everybody can crank out blogs by the dozens. And it's going to be interesting to see how that develops. It's just, you guys can tell this, you guys got me excited about this combo because it's on our brains too.
It's the same. I mean, my background's in content and writing. So, I mean, this was I don't want to go down this rabbit hole, but like we're constantly having this conversation. Anyone can write a blog now.
Anybody.
It's not even writing at this point. And so,
exactly.
So to your point, you are right. I'm curious to see what that looks like in 6 months, 1 year, 5 years, 10 years,
Well, Jeff Bezos has an incredible teaching on basically like how do you make decisions in a world like this? And maybe you guys have heard this. He teaches that he thinks about things differently, not what the world will be, but what won't change. And he said that's a grounding effect that helps you make business decisions. It's going, hey, so many things are going to change. Tech is going to change. Markets are going to change. But what won't change? And so he guides Amazon that way. Hey, clients will still want the lowest price. That will not change no matter what. They will still want it to be as cost effective as possible. They will still want convenience. They will want speed. They won't want things slower. They will want things at speed. And so he thinks about things that won't change. So apply that to our real estate business, right? Because we're not Amazon. For me, I go, what's not going to change is there's going to be a relationship economy.
Kathy, I could tell you wanted to say something on that. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was going to say, to kind of put this all together, I think what we could say is what is not going to change is the enrichment and the amplification of the relationship.
Bingo.
And what Reminder Media is going to do is give us tools and resources to support that foundation. I go back to the frequency, and you're right. Everybody, what is going to sharpen is the bullshit meter. What is going to be enhanced is the relationship. And I think in our industry, I've been through a lot of different level sets. and course corrections in this industry, the one thing that has had to remain sustainable is the relationship, because
Exactly.
the big letter, the capital letter in this to me is trust. Because
Mhm.
the methods to scratch and sniff will change. What will not is the relationship. And I love this. I absolutely love this partnership. We could go on and on and on. I know you, I like you, and I trust you, Luke. I want you to mark in your calendar a save the date for November 2nd through 5th in Miami, Florida, because we're going to hopefully all be together then for Summit. And
Yes.
would love, I know Reminder's going to be there, and our network is going to have a chance to feel and touch and look at things and hold the magazine and that kind of thing, which is incredibly important. But we want to hear more. We want to hear more. And I will tell you, you have such a servant heart. And
Thank you.
what screams to me that I love that fits our culture so well is your heart and your passion. Josh,
That's
what do
it.
you got?
That was perfect, Kathy. I don't want to say another word. Luke, thank you so much for joining us. This was great. I think our network is going to eat this up. For those that did not see the one primetime session with Luke, it's an even deeper dive of what we just talked about, and that's available on our YouTube channel. Yeah, that's all I got. Thanks again, guys.
Thank you guys. You're amazing. Thank you for having me.
Thank you so much.